Comedian and a beatboxer.
No, neither. My stage name is Big Poppa E, and I've been saying funny things in front of audiences since 1992. It was the beginning of the 90s, and there were poetry readings in cafes and zines and rock shows and all that kind of stuff, and I just kind of dove into that thing. And I had written poetry, but it was more like stand-up comedy mixed with poetry, mixed with dramatic monologue. I was just doing my thing, and it ended up, people laughed at it. What I was doing was, you know, what some people would call slam poetry. So it's like this mixture thing of comedy and poetry and dramatic monologue. It's more sort of theatrical and more kind of like you're watching a play. You know, it's a funny part in the play, but it's not as conversational or as off the cuff or seemingly spontaneous as, say, a stand-up comedy routine would be. But my stuff was always funny, and people were always saying, well, that's not really poetry, that's more stand-up comedy. And then when I would try to do my stuff in comedy venues, they'd say, well, that's not really comedy, that's more like poetry. And so it's been this weird thing to go back and forth and try to see where I fit in. I had stopped performing about 5 years ago just because I got busy being sad. And then, you know, it takes up a lot of time to be that sad.
It does.
Yeah, it does. And I decided that I was done being sad. And I just got bored of being on the couch and bored of darkness and bored of staying up all night and sleeping all day. So I was just like, I'm going to go get a life. So that's it. I just got bored.
Awesome.
Yeah. And I missed being on stage because, you know, I'm really uncomfortable around people. But when I'm on stage, I'm completely in my element, and I'm completely centered and in the moment. And as soon as I get off the stage, it's back to being weird. But on stage, I can safely say that I own it. You know, I heard there was something going on at the Loony bin, so I was like, all right, I'll check it out. And I went up, and this big, tall, bald dude came up to me and said, hey, what's your name? Hey, how's it going? I'm Dan the Man. What's your name? Okay, Big Poppa, come on over here. And he showed me how to sign up, and he introduced me to a bunch of people. And I kept thinking, surely this guy is not as nice as he seems. Surely he's selling something, you know? But he actually ended up being that nice. And everybody was really cool and very welcoming and supportive. I had no conception that I could possibly make the finals, much less win the thing.
So you were surprised when you won?
I was shocked. I think one of the judges said that I just stood there looking so uncomfortable as they were reading out the names of the top three, and that I just stood there with a dumb look on my face and my mouth open like this, like I didn't know how to process it. It was very bizarre. But it was really such a good, supportive group of people, so it was a good place to be uncomfortable in, because everybody was cool about it. Just 4 months ago, I was on my couch in my underwear, hiding my head under a blanket, and I had no friends, and I didn't know anybody, and I'd been that way for 5 years. So to suddenly go a couple months later, and I'm on stage amongst all these really, truly funny people, gifted people, and you know, I get to be the funniest person in Wichita or whatever. I don't know, it was joyous, but then also bizarre and weird, and I don't know, it was kind of mind-blowing. Afterwards, I went into my truck and cried.
Really?
Yeah, it was just too much. What I tend to do is cover a subject for that entire time. So, for instance, my beard. I write a list of all the things about a beard. It's scratchy, it's smelly, it's itchy, you know, you get food in it, you know, people don't want to kiss you because they're afraid it's going to be weird and wild. and then, just make a big old long list and then try to make each of those elements of it funny in some, but also poignant in some way, expressing some kind of insecurity or, some kind of thing about masculinity. And I was born a poor black child on the west side of Philadelphia, West Philadelphia, born and raised. I don't know the rest of the song. Hola, mamita. Interview, I had a pen and I was clicking it. We can do this and redo it and try different things and I'm all good. Yes, a veteran of comedy. Can I hang out with you guys? Like literally, and you guys were like, come on!
Awesome.
That's how I ended up here.
That's